Have you ever found yourself in a relationship where no matter how clearly you explain your feelings, the other person just doesn't get it? Maybe it's a partner who twists every argument to make you the bad guy. Maybe it's a parent who only calls when they need something, or a boss who takes credit for your hard work while minimizing your effort. When we deal with highly narcissistic people, our brains default to a very dangerous trap. We think, if I just find the right words, if I am more patient, or if I change how I act, they will finally understand and change. But psychologically, trying to fix them is like trying to water a pleasant plant hoping it will grow. It doesn't work. And today, we're going to break down the exact CBT tools to help you reclaim your energy. In clinical psychology, this is known as becoming better supply. Narcissistic individuals do not view relationships as a two-way street. They view them as a source of emotional fuel, attention, validation, and control. When you twist yourself into knots to avoid their anger, you aren't fixing the relationship. You are just training yourself to be a more efficient battery. They have zero incentive to change, because the current setup works perfectly for them, even if it's completely draining you. So why do we stay? Why is it so hard to let go of the hope that they will change? The culprit is a cognitive bias called euphoric recall. Because dealing with a narcissist is emotionally exhausting, your brain desperately wants to feel safe. To do this, it cherry-picks the few good times from the past. That one nice weekend 3 years ago, or that one rare compliment, and uses them to justify staying in a toxic loop. Your brain selectively deletes the bad data to protect your feelings. To break this cognitive bias, therapists use a CBT tool called the data log, or what some psychologists call the ick list. Stop relying on your memory when you are feeling lonely. Start writing down the reality. Every time this person insults you, lies, or minimizes your feelings, write down the date, what happened, and how you felt. The next time your brain tries to tell you, maybe they've changed, do not argue with yourself. Just open the log and look at the black and white data. You cannot argue with evidence. It forces your brain to face reality, which is the very step towards healing. This brings us to a concept called the tiger's cage. Imagine you are standing outside a cage containing a wild tiger. You might think, if I just show this tiger enough love, it will act like a kitten. But if you step inside that cage with a bowl of milk, the tiger isn't going to purr. It's going to do what tigers do. It's going to attack. When you walk into an interaction with a narcissist, expecting them to suddenly possess empathy, self-awareness, or kindness, you are stepping into the tiger's cage. This is where we apply radical acceptance. Radical acceptance does not mean you approve of the tiger's behavior. It doesn't mean you think it's okay that they hurt you. It simply means you accept the reality that the tiger is a tiger. Once you radically accept that this person is incapable of giving you the love, apology, or validations you deserve, you stop entering the cage. You'll lock the door, keep your distance, and stop expecting a wild animal to act like a house pet. The disappointment ends the moment your unrealistic expectations do. If the narcissistic person in your life is a parent, the dynamic gets even more complicated. In dysfunctional families, roles are strictly enforced to keep the peace. You were likely assigned a rural childhood to help the system survive. There is the golden child, who can do no wrong but must constantly perform to keep the parents' favor. There is a scapegoat, who becomes the dumping ground for the parents' unresolved rage and frustration. And there is a peacekeeper, the child who constantly walks on eggshells trying to clean up messes and manage everyone else's anxiety before an explosion happens. The trap is that we carry these childhood costumes into our adult lives. If you were the peacekeeper, you probably still feel intense, anxious urge to fix every conflict around you. To heal, you must practice role de-identification. When you interact with your family, mentally step back and look at the costume you've been handed. Remind yourself, I am an adult now. I am no longer required to play the peacekeeper to survive. You can drop the white flag. Let the conflict happen without trying to cure it. Their reactions are their responsibility, not your job description. But what if you can't completely walk away? Perhaps you share custody of children, or you choose to maintain limited contact with a parent. If you must stay in contact, you need a system to protect your nervous system. We call this the prepare and release control. First, you prepare. Never walk into an interaction with a narcissist cold. Before you call them or see them, put on your mental suit of armor. Tell yourself, they are going to criticize me. They are going to make a passive-aggressive comment. This is highly predictable behavior. You can even play a game of narcissist bingo in your head. When they say something hurtful, instead of getting angry, mentally check that box. It shifts your brain from emotional reaction to scientific observation. And second, you have release. Set a strict time limit on the interaction. For example, I can only stay for 1 hour. And the second you leave, have a release ritual. Go for a walk, listen to your favorite music, or scream into a pillow. Do whatever you need to physically release the cortisol and adrenaline from your body. Do not carry their emotional toxic waste into your peaceful life. If you have survived a relationship with a narcissistic person, I want you to realize something incredibly important. You are extraordinarily resilient. While other people have been running the marathon of life on flat, smooth ground, you've been forced to run it uphill, on rough terrain, carrying a 400-pound backpack of someone else's dysfunction. And yet you are still here. You are still standing. The moment you unbuckle that backpack, the moment you stop trying to fix, change, or save someone who does not want to be saved, is the moment you finally start running your own race. You cannot heal in the same environment that made you sick. You cannot cure someone who doesn't think they are broken. If you found these tools helpful, hit that subscribe button to join our community for more simple, science-backed psychology tools every single week. And leave a comment below. What is one boundary you are committing to setting this week? And I read every single comment. And thank you for watching, and keep practicing your peace.